Bismillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala ahlihi wa ashabihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This video is for the presentation of my final year project at Al-Madinah International University. The supervisor of this project is Dr. Shadi Ears. My name is Mustafa Afsa Odwaya from the Faculty of Computer and Information Technology, Bachelor of Computer Science and Computer Networking. The title of this project is to design a VLAN, a virtual local area network with restricted internet access. That is, to design a VLAN and a restricted access of users to the internet. This project have two phases. The first phase is for the planning, initialization, design, taking the requirements, the objective, and introduction to the project. Now, this project, this network, virtual local area network, while restricting access to the internet, have been designed in the previous years for a software development organization, but I chose to design this network for a high school, because high school level of education is a very important education level in the life of every individual, because it determines the future of the individual as well as the future of their country. I designed this project while thinking about my country, Nigeria. Nigeria is a developing country that has a long way to go with technology advancement, and I designed this project with the hope that one day Nigeria will become a developed country, and all high schools in Nigeria should be able to design and implement this type of network for educational, moral, and easy communication of the network users. This network is designed for a high school in order to increase moral and education standard of the school's network user, and at the same time allowing the students to have access to computer without using internet, ensuring that the network is secured from external access. High school students these days, they get access to the internet at home, on the street, and wherever they go. So I want to design this network for a high school, so that even if the students get access to internet at home or on the street, they will still be restricted to internet access in the school. And the main objective of this is for disciplinary purpose, for educational purpose, for moral, and for easy communication. So that students cannot students will not just sit down on his own and be browsing on the internet and not communicating with their friends. When this network is implemented, the students can communicate with each other virtually, even without sitting together. That is why I want to design such a network for a high school. What is VLAN? A VLAN is virtual local area network. Is a group of devices on one or more LAN that are configured to communicate as if they were attached to the same wire. VLAN, a virtual local area network, is the abstract idea of local area network. That is the virtual idea of local area network. It is not physical, it is logical. So it is the virtual idea of LAN that are configured to communicate as if they are attached to the same wire, when in fact they are located on a number of different LAN segments. Because virtual local area network are based on logical connection instead of physical connection, they are extremely flexible. Virtual local area network is very flexible. You can easily make changes. You can make changes with the connection or in the network without affecting the whole network. Now, since this project is based on restricting access to the internet, we will make use of access control list in this project. So that is why I want to I want to define or introduce access control and access control list. What is access control? Access control is a security technique that can be used to regulate who or what can view or use resources in a computing environment. There are two types of access control. We have the physical access control and the logical access control. Physical access control is the having access or limiting access to physical assets, while logical access control is the logical access limit connection to computer network, system files and data. Example of physical access control is allowing access, for instance, allowing access of someone to a building. Maybe this building, a building between the school that only the teachers can have access to. Students cannot cannot enter the building. That is an example of physical access control. A logical access control, because this project will restrict access of users from accessing the internet. So I can say I make use of access control in this project logically, and I configured it in such a way that a list of users can have access to the internet, while some cannot have access to the internet. So that list is called access control list. Access control list is a list of permissions attached to an object. An access control list specifies which user or system processes are granted access to objects, as well as what operations are allowed on given objects. An example of access control list, if I explain it physically, is, for instance, I say women are allowed to enter my house, men are not allowed to enter my house, and children are allowed to enter, either male and a boy or a girl. Children can have access. This type of access control list, it lists women are permitted, men not permitted, and children are permitted because they are children. So which means male children, as long as they are not up to the age of puberty, they can have access to my house. And this type of example is what I make use of in my project. I have three access controls: the access list 10, access list 100, and access list 105. Access list 10 is a private access list. It's denied access list 10 from accessing the internet. The router will deny access list 10 from accessing the internet, and it will allow access list 105 to have access to the internet and to the whole network, and it will allow access list 100 to have partial access to the internet. That is, access list 100 can only be allowed. Access list 100 can only be allowed for web browsing and file transfer purpose only. That is HTTP and FTP. I'm designing this project for a school, for an high school that wishes to design a network, that wish to have a network so that its students so that they can be able to control their students from behaving or from external network. They will be able to control the students as long as they are within the school. They cannot access the outside world, and external network cannot allow access to this network also. An outside network cannot be given access to this network. Now, the objective of this network, of this design, is to effectively design and analyze a VLAN network for high school in order to provide amendable educational facilities to the students and educational administrators. Also, the VLAN network is deployed to restrict users' access to web browsing and improper internet content like pornography. And also, another objective of designing, reason for designing this network is to provide a secure virtual local area network so that no unauthorized transaction can be performed leading to any sort of cybercrime. You cannot access improper sites, you cannot commit cybercrime. An example of cybercrime, when students are doing computer-based examination, CBT, sometimes if they are access to the internet, the students may be tempted to commit examination malpractice. And making use of the internet to commit examination malpractice can be a sort of cybercrime also. And getting access to improper internet content, it is not good morally, and also it is bad for education purposes of the students. It is bad for educating the students, because students will not be able to concentrate they will not be able to concentrate in their studies. And the scope and the limits of this project, just brief explanation about how the network will be like. The network all the devices on this network will be on different IP addresses, and the inter-access, that is intercommunication, will be allowed between the users of this network. And there are 3 users. The users of this network are of three categories. The first categories are the authorities, like the principal, the vice principal, the counselor. Then the second category is the staff, teaching staff, non-teaching staff like the librarian, the nurse, the receptionist, the HODs. And the third category is the students. And the student will not, in this network, the students will not have any access to the internet, where the staffs can have partial access to internet for web browsing and file transfer purpose only. And the authorities, like the principal and vice principal, can have access to a more they have more advantage to access the internet, and they can access the whole network, not only internet, but they can have access to the whole network. So they can be able to make transactions because they are authorized personnel. They can make transaction, they can send mail, they can receive mail, they can browse the internet. But all the activities of even the authorities, of management authorities, I mean the principal, the vice principal, or the counselor, will be secured, because the protocol will the protocol the ports that will allow access to the internet will be secured, while they allow access of these users to the internet will be secured. Even if at all they access the internet, they will be secured from accessing improper site or from committing cybercrime. Now, this is the initial design of the project. Here is the initial design. This is just a design. It is not configured. This is the main building. This is the main building. On this main building, it is for offices, for HOD offices, admin offices, teacher offices, and also each building have a printer. Also on this main building, there is a prayer area, a mosque, where the wireless router is connected. So this is the only area within the school where you can browse on wireless, like where you can use wireless network. And it is open only for teachers that want to use the laptop and the administrative, like the principal that wants to use smart devices or tablets. And the second building is for classes and laboratories. The third building and also the library. The third building is for the PC runs the reception, and the school clinic. This is the main router. This router it gives access to the authorized personnel to access this internet router. So, this is the overview diagram about the network on Visio. I draw this diagram using Microsoft Visio. This is the main building, and this is the wireless device on the wireless router on the main building. This is the second building, and this is the third building. If this project will be implemented physically in the future, there will be made for requirements, the project requirements, the implementation requirements of this project. We have the human requirements and the material requirements. The human requirements include the internal and external stakeholders. The internal stakeholders is the proprietor of the school, or the management committee of the school. They are the one that will pay, or that will be responsible for building the network. They are the one that will finance the network. And external stakeholders are the project manager, the network designer, the web designer, or network manager or network programmer, and also the users. The users of this network, they are also part of the requirements. The students, the staff, or the authorities like the principal. Also the material requirements. The material requirements of this network, for implementing this project in the future, we will need a router, switch. We need the main router. We need switch, and we need devices like PCs, laptop, printer, smart devices. But because I want to design this network virtually, I'm making use of packet tracer, Cisco packet tracer. To design, I will use Cisco packet tracer to design, implement, test, and configure this project on Cisco packet tracer. And I make use of Microsoft Visio to design the building layout of the school, because you must know the layout of the school for you to be able to connect the devices to each other in the building and within the building. So this the building layout of the school. This is the main building. The main building, here is the prayer area where the wireless router is connected. The laptop, the smartphone is connected to the wireless router. The main building is for mosque and offices, teacher offices, principal offices, vice principal offices, HOD offices, and each building have a printer. So the printer on the main building is connected to the principal office, to the principal PCs, the principal office PC. Also, the second building. The second building is for classrooms and laboratories. This is the second building. And also for library. These are classrooms. There are 30 classrooms and 6 laboratories and the library. And the printer for this building is connected to the library, to the librarian PC. Also, the third building. This is the third building. The third building is for the PC rooms. There are 5 PC rooms in the school, and for this initialization design, I use one PC to represent a PC room, but in the detailed design there will be 15 PCs in each PC rooms. So on the third building, there are 5 PC rooms, the school clinic, and the receptionist office. So the office and the receptionist PC is connected to the building, and so the building printer is connected to the receptionist PC on the third building. This is a brief explanation of, or the overview explanation of introduction to the project. Now we go to the phase 2 of the project. The phase 2 of this project shows the detailed implementation design, the configured design of the project, the network configuration, the test and implementation of the configured network. Here I will show the configuration of the design, and I will test and implement the configured network. Here, this is a detailed network design. This is a detailed diagram, detailed design of the network. This is a detailed design of the network here. You see, these are the PC rooms. I said 15 PCs in each room. These are the PC rooms, 15, 15, 15. Now I will represent the names with VLAN, because this is VLAN 2, this is VLAN 6, this is VLAN 3, this is VLAN 4, VLAN 5. This is VLAN 6, this is VLAN 7, this is VLAN 8, this is VLAN 9, this is VLAN 10, and this is VLAN 11. There are 10 VLAN on this network, and these are trunks. These dotted lines are trunks. They are used to connect the VLAN to the main switch. They are used to allow access, to allow this main switch access the VLAN. And this is the main router. Inside this main router, I created a sub interface which serves as a default gateway for all these VLAN. And this sub interfaces they allowed access to this VLAN through this trunk. And this is the the internet server. This internet server is representing the internet. The IP address is 200.200.200.2. Now, first I will show the configuration of all the network, configuration of all the switches. I will show the configuration of all the VLAN. I will show the VLAN configuration on all switches. Then I will show the configuration of trunks, configuration of interface, configuration of default gateway. Then I will show the configuration of the IP address of all the devices. Then configuration of the access group 10, access group 100, and access group 105. Here, this VLAN 2, VLAN 3, VLAN 4, VLAN 5, and VLAN 6. They are in access group, standard access group 10. And VLAN 9, VLAN 7, VLAN 10, and VLAN 11 are in extended access group 100, and main building VLAN 8 is an access group 105. Now I will show the configuration of VLAN 2. If I want to show the configuration of the VLAN 2, I will go to the switch and type show VLAN. Show VLAN. Show VLAN. You see, this is the configuration of VLAN 2. The VLAN ID is VLAN 2, and the name of the VLAN is PC-room5. You see, the status, it is active. And this VLAN have access to the interface port 0/2 to 0/16. The interface range 0/2 to 0/16. So this interface on this switch are allowed access to this VLAN 2. And also I configured this VLAN in such a way that all the PC rooms will have access to each other. They will be allowed intercommunication between each other. So after configuring this VLAN to a port, I configured also the VLAN, the other PC rooms, to this VLAN so that they can be able to access each other, but I didn't assign it to a port. so that they can access, just accessing, so that they can intercommunicate with each other. On VLAN, this is VLAN 3. To show the configuration of VLAN 3, type show VLAN. Show VLAN. This is the configuration of VLAN 3. VLAN 3 name PC room 1. You see it is active, and also the port interface interface fast Ethernet range 0/2 to 0/15. There are 15 devices, the 15 pieces on this VLAN, and also it can access all the other PC rooms. And the same goes to all the other PC rooms. You see, to show VLAN, to show configuration of VLAN, we type show VLAN. See this is the configuration of the VLAN 4. This is the PC room 2. You see it is active, and the interface, the port is connected, is allowed, and the ports that this VLAN is allowed to access are the fast internet range 0/2 to 0/16. 15 devices are on this, connected to this VLAN. Now, so these are applicable to VLAN 5 and VLAN 6 also. Then VLAN 7 is the reception. To show this VLAN, the receptionist VLAN, type show VLAN. Show VLAN. You see, this receptionist PC is allowed access to all the VLAN, because it is for administrative purpose. The reception is also part of administration, so it can access all the VLAN in the network. But because it is among the access list 100, it is restricted. I configured it in such a way that it cannot make use of the command prompt. So later, if I want to confirm, or if I want to test whether this VLAN can access other VLAN or not, I cannot be able to test, because it cannot make use of the command prompt to access other VLAN or to access the internet. It can only make use of the VLAN or of the command prompt to access devices on the same VLAN, but it can access without if I didn't deny the access to the command prompt, it can access the VLAN. This access list 100, I only allow it access the internet. I only allow it access web browsing and file transfer protocol. This is VLAN 9. To show the VLAN, type show VLAN. Show VLAN. This is the configuration of VLAN 9. VLAN 9 is classroom 1 to 15 classrooms. So here there are 15 ports connected to this switch, and active ports that access this VLAN. And also VLAN 9, 10, 11 are allowed intercommunication, because they are for classrooms and laboratories. You know, a teacher may be teaching chemistry, for instance, in the class and also in the laboratory, and the classroom PCs, they are used to keep records of students' grade, the attendance, the participation while doing research. So the teacher may want to use the PC in the classroom to send information about students' grade to the laboratory, or the students' attendance to the laboratory PC. So that is why I allow intercommunication between the classrooms, all the classrooms and the laboratories, so that teachers can communicate with each other on the VLAN. So VLAN 9, VLAN 10, and VLAN 11 are allowed access, intercommunication between each other. But because they also fall into the access list 100, they may not be able to use the command prompt to ping each other, but you can ping a device on the same VLAN. You can ping interface fast Ethernet 0/3 from interface fast Ethernet 0/4, but you cannot ping another VLAN because I did not allow the command prompt port. I only allowed HTTP and FTP. And this is the main building. To show the VLAN 8, to show the configuration of VLAN 8, type show VLAN. Show VLAN. See, this is the configuration of VLAN 8. So this is VLAN 8 main building. It is active and its access interface range 0/2 to 0/21, which means there are 20 devices on this VLAN. And also this VLAN can access all the VLAN in the network. It can access not only the VLAN in the network, it can access the whole network, and it can access the internet also. It can make use of the command prompt, and it can make use of the web browser. Because I didn't deny it from accessing the command prompt port, but I denied access list 100 from accessing the command prompt port. I did not deny it from accessing the command prompt port because it falls into access list 100, and it is for the main building where the offices and the wireless devices is located. It is for the principal, the vice principal, the school authorities. So they have a more advantage than the staffs. Now, after showing the configuration of all these VLAN, I will show the configuration of the trunks. But I need to show you the nodes, the VLAN and the names. Then the VLAN are connected on the main router. I created sub-interfaces. So these sub-interfaces are used by the router to access this VLAN. Not a physical interface, a virtual interface that the router used to access this VLAN 2 to VLAN 11, and this are the IP gateway. I make this sub interfaces the default gateway to this VLAN, and these are the trunks. I said here trunks. These are the trunks. This dotted line are the trunk. The trunk are not ports. They are used to access by this switch to access the VLAN. Or a trunk is used to connect a switch to another switch, or to connect a switch to a router. That is the use of the trunk. So all the trunks on this network have allowed access to the VLAN, to all the VLAN, to VLAN 2 to VLAN 11. Here I will show the configuration of the trunks. Here, to show the configuration of the trunk on the main, because this trunk are used to access the VLAN by this switch. So to show the configuration, this configuration will be shown on the main switch. See, these are the interface for the trunk. 10 interfaces, from interface fast Ethernet 0/3 to interface fast Ethernet 0/12. You see, it is configured as trunk, and it is allowed to access VLAN 2 to 11. If you check interface fast Ethernet 0/13, you see it is access. It is not trunk. But interface and 12 to from 3 to 12 are trunk that are used to access all the VLAN. Now to show the configuration of the trunk, we type show running configuration. Now show running running configuration. Here it will show the configuration of the trunk on the main switch. There are 10 trunks. There are 10 VLAN and 10 trunks. Here, the trunk interface past Ethernet 0/3 allowed switch ports. The port on the switch is used as a trunk to allow access to VLAN 2 to 11. That is the whole VLAN in the network. This is interface 9. Access the trunk that is allowed access to VLAN 2 to 11, all the VLAN for the interface 9, interface 10, interface 11, interface 12. But interface 13 is not a trunk, you see. So it is because it is not configured it is not even configured at all, because there are 10 VLAN, so I only need 10 interfaces. So this is the configuration of the trunks on this switch. Now next I will, you see, trunks. The trunk allows the main switch to access all the ports on the VLAN. It allows the main switch, this main switch, to access all the ports on this VLAN. Now next is to show the configuration of the school router. This is the school router, and if we did not configure this router, all other configuration would be useless, because we cannot even have a result. All the important configuration will be made on this router, because this router serves as a door that will allow internal and external access of this network. It will allow this network to access the internet, and it will allow, or it may deny, or it will be used also to deny access of this part of the network to the internet. Now, so to configure the router, and in order to allow it to access all the VLANs, I created a sub-interface. I created sub-interfaces. What is sub-interface? A sub-interface is a virtual interface created by dividing one physical interface into multiple logical interfaces. A sub-interface is a virtual interface. It is not physical. It is logical. A sub-interface in Cisco router uses the parent physical interface for sending and receiving data, and they are used for a variety of purposes. A sub-interface can be used as the default gateway, and a sub-interface can be used by its parent interface to access all the network virtually. It is created in a situation where you cannot have so many physical parent interface. So you can just simply create a sub-interface that will be used to access the whole network. So here, this is the parent interface as Ethernet 0/0. And to show the sub-interfaces on this VLAN, we will type show running configuration. Show running configuration. So to show the configuration of all the sub-interfaces, this is the parent interface. This parent interface is fast Ethernet 0/0, and on this parent interface, I allowed the access group 105 to access the router with this interface. So the router will allow access group 105 to get access to the internet through this port. And in this port, I divided it into multiple sub-interfaces. I divided it into the number of VLAN I have, VLAN interfaces I have. I have 10 VLANs, so I divided this physical interface into 10 sub-interfaces. This is for fast Ethernet, and this fast Ethernet 0/0.2 is for VLAN 2. This is the ID of the VLAN it is representing. This is representing VLAN 3, VLAN 4, VLAN 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, VLAN 10. This is representing VLAN 11. And also I use this sub interface as I make this sub interface as the default gateway to all the VLANs. All the VLANs are the IP gateway, the internet and protocol and IP address, internet protocol as address gateway for all the VLAN. I made the sub interface the default gateway for all the IP addresses of the VLAN, of all the devices on the VLAN, because all these devices I configured. All these devices, each device have its IP addresses, but the default gateway of each device is the sub interfaces, and this is the configuration of the sub interfaces. And also on this router, the interface path Ethernet 0/1, it is used as the default gateway for the internet server. The internet server is IP addresses 300.200.200.2. So this interface is used as the default gateway. The router is used as the default gateway for the internet, so that on access permitted, or access that are permitted or that are denied will get to this fast interface, in internet 0/1 and 0/0 before going to the internet. So on this fast internet, I configured it in such a way that it will restrict, it will deny access group 100 from going out of the network. This is the configuration on the router, the configuration of these interfaces, and making these some interfaces a default gateway on the network. This is the configuration of this sub interface. Now I need to show the configuration of all the IP addresses of all the devices on the network. There are so many devices on the network, so I will only show the IP address of few devices. Like, let me show the IP address of the counselor office PC. The counselor's PC. This, I go to the the counselor's office PC, and I will go to the desktop, and IP configuration. See, this is the configuration of IP address. The IP address of the counselor office is 192.168.60.18, and the default gateway is 192.168.60.1. Also, PC room 3 and VLAN 6 here. On the PC room 4, this is the IP address of PC 3. The third PC on the VLAN 6, we have 192.168.40.4, and the default gateway is 192.168.40.1. So all these devices on this network, even printers, they have its IP address. The IP gateway, the default gateway for this printer is 192.168.50.1, and the IP address of this printer is 192.168.50.1. Also the wireless devices. This wireless router, the default gateway is the default gateway of this VLAN, and the wireless router, this is the IP address of the wireless router, 192.168.100.60.100, and this is the range. Because this router will also have its own devices connected to it, so it's the IP range on this router will be from 100 to 109. So if I want to check the IP address of this smart device, This is the IP address of the smartphone 192.168.60.101, and the fourth gateway is this wireless router. So all the devices on this network have IP addresses configured to them. You see, this is the printer on VLAN 7. This is the IP address configuration for the printer, and here for the principal's PC. This is the IP address configuration for the principal's PC. Now I will show the configuration of access control list. This access control list, I explained it in before. They are the lists that are allowed access or denied access to the internet. Just the internet. Here, to show the configuration of the access control list, I will type on the main router, show access list. Show access list. And these are the access list on this router. Access list 100. It is an extended access list. To configure an access list or an external access list, you need the command, the protocol, maybe it is connection oriented protocol TCP, and the IP address of the access group, also the IP address of the destination, the source. This is the IP address of the source, and this is the IP address of the destination, and also the port. This is the port that I want this IP group to access. This is port 80 www. That is HTTP. This is port 80 web browsing. Then this is port 20 for file transfer protocol, and also port 21 for port 20 and port 21 is for file transfer. So I allow this access list 100 just to access web browsing and file transfer only, and the VLAN that are allowed that are permitted to access this on the VLAN that are on this access list are VLAN 7, VLAN 9, VLAN 10, and VLAN 11. VLAN 7 is this is VLAN 7 50.0. This is access group for VLAN 7. This is IP group for VLAN 9. This is IP group for VLAN 10, and this is IP group for VLAN 11. Also, the standard access list. Also here in this access list 100, I did not configure it to access the command prompt. So it can, when I try to use the command prompt, it will return destination host unreachable, or at times, and when I try to ping it from another VLAN, it will tell me request sign out. On this standard access list, the standard access list are the access list for the PC ROMs. Because these PCs will be used by students, I deny total access to the internet. They are not allowed access to the internet at all, but they can use the command prompt, so they can message each other, they can intercommunicate between each other. So all the PC ROMs, PC 1 to PC 5 fall into the access list 10, and extended access list 105. This access list is for the main building only, the main building VLAN 8, and it is allowed access to www.port80 web browsing, and also FTP port 21, FTP port 22 is allowed. Port Telnet port is allowed for simple mail transfer protocol for mail, email, also for post office. Post office protocol is also allowed. It's allowed port. This access list is allowed access to post office protocol port, and also this is 334. This 334 is for HTTP secured. Okay, these are the configuration of the access list. Now I will show the test and implementation of the VLAN, and of the whole network. I will test and implement my configuration using the command prompt and using the web browser. First, I will test the configuration of this access list, access list 10, which is VLAN 2, VLAN 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I will use one of the PCs on access list 10. I will use PC 7 on VLAN 3 as an example. Now to test the configuration, of this, to test that the configuration is correct, I will try to ping first. I will ping the same VLAN. I will ping a different VLAN. I will ping the internet, and I will also use the web browser to access the internet, and I will, so that to confirm the result. Now let me ping the IP address for this. Let me ping the same a device on the same VLAN, 168.10.5. The IP address of this PC, of PC7, is the 10.2, so I will ping the IP address the 10.5. And you see, it will return immediately. It will give me result immediately. It will access it because they are on the same VLAN. But when I try to ping another VLAN, ping 192.40.5, it will request timeout once, and then it will give me result. The reason why it requested timeout once is because the reason why the request timed out once is because if you want to access a VLAN from another VLAN, you will have to pass from the source, the source, then you will go to the router and then to the destination. The trunk will send the message from the source to the router, and then the router will send the message through the destination trunk to the destination. So this will take a little bit time. That is why it gave me this request time out once. Now I will try to access the internet. The IP address of the internet is ping. You see, it will tell me destination host unreachable. Why? Because I deny access to the internet. I denied it access to the internet, but I did not. And standard access group have the privilege to use command prompts, so they can access all the VLAN, but they cannot. I did not allow it access to the internet, not even at all. It cannot even go out of the network. It can only access VLAN or the network. It can only go within the network. It cannot go out of this router. Now I will, on this PC7, I will use the web browser to check if my configuration is correct. It will give me request timeout because I denied access to the outside. I did not allow the router. I did not allow access of this VLAN 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to go out of the router. So the router will not carry its information to the internet. Now, next is to test the configuration of for the VLAN. Now I will test the configuration, and I will test and implement the configuration of VLAN 9, VLAN 7, 9, 10, and 11. They are on access list 100. So I will test the I will do the test with the PC room 3, PC room 3. The practical room 3 PC on VLAN 11. This is the PC that I want to use to implement and test my configuration using the command prompt. First, I will ping the same IP address, the same VLAN. I will ping the same VLAN 192.168.90.5. It will give me result because they are on the same VLAN. Now I will ping another VLAN. To tell me configure destination host unreachable because it is on the same VLAN. That is why it worked. But because I am trying to access another VLAN and I already added this VLAN 11 to access list 100, so it cannot make use of command prompt to access network except the same VLAN. It cannot access the internet, and it cannot use the command prompt to access the other VLAN because the command prompt port, I did not enable it to access the command prompt port. I only enable VLAN access list 100 to access port 80, port 21, and port 20. Port 80 for HTTP, port 21 and port 20 for file transfer calls. Now I will ping the internet. So tell me configuration destination host unreachable because it cannot make use of command prompt. Now to confirm that my configuration is correct, I can only use the web browser because I permit access to HTTP web browser. Now I will type the IP address of the internet. It will give me results because this is HTTP because I allowed it to access web browsing only. They are on the access group that can access the web and in the web browser. They can access web browser and they can transfer file transfer protocol. They can access the port for file transfer protocol. Now I will show the test and implementation for the configuration of on VLAN 8, the main building, access list 105. This is the main building. It is VLAN 8 and it's fall into the access list 105. I will use the vice principal 3 PC. First, I will ping. First, I will ping the same VLAN. Then I will ping a different VLAN. Then I will ping the internet. Then I will use the web browser to check my configuration, to implement my configuration. Now, ping 192.168.6.9. The IP address of this VP office is 192.168.60.5, but I want to ping 192.168.9.60.9. You see, it will give me results because they are on the same VLAN. Now I will ping another VLAN. I want to use this to ping VLAN 3, VLAN 4. I want this to ping VLAN VLAN 5. Okay, you see VLAN 5. I use it to ping this VLAN. The VLAN, you know, this from this VLAN to this VLAN, you see, it is far. It will send from the source, from this PC, it will send the message to the router, and then the router will send the message to the PC here. So that is why it's requested time. It gave me request time out once before it gets access. It will gain access, but it will take a bit long time. Now I will ping the internet. I will test whether the configuration is correct on the internet server. You see, it is this access list 100 is allowed access, complete access to the internet. I mean the main building is allowed complete access to the internet. Now let me implement it on the web browser. I will type the IP address of the internet. You see, it will give me result. It gave me result. It's worked because I allowed its access to the internet, and I also allowed it access to the command prompt. But access list 100, I did not allow its access to the command prompt. I only allowed its access to the internet and to the web browser and FTP. But this 105, I allowed its access to the whole network, which means this VLAN 8 can access the whole network. But this cannot access the internet, but they can intercommunicate with other VLAN. But this one, because they belong to a special access control list, they cannot use the ping. They can only use the command prompt to access the other VLAN. So all this configuration shows, all this testing and implementation shows that my configuration is correct. So since I already proved that my configuration is correct, I can conclude that this VLAN can be implemented and can be designed, and in this kind of network, a virtual local area network with restricted internet access can be designed for a school in the future. It can be implemented physically, it can be implemented in real life in the future, because I already tested and implemented this on packet tracer without any problem, which means in the future it can be implemented in real life without any problem. Because the reason why I will love this network to be implemented is because people are misusing the internet these days. So if this type of network is implemented, at least in the school, the high school students will still have hope. The nation or the future of the country will still have hope, because school are training the students very well. I guess the high school is training students very well. Even if they get to the street and they still access the internet, the students will know that once we get to school, we cannot have access to the internet, and we can communicate with our friends, and we will be able to face our studies without any problem. So in the future, if anyone wants to learn about VLAN or about packet tracer, you can go to Cisco website. You can download packet tracer there, and you can learn about access restriction, access control list, and about VLAN configuration, trunk configuration on Cisco.com, www.cisco.com. Thank you for listening to me, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.